Another inmate breaks out in Philadelphia. Police are searching for a prisoner who escaped while on a bathroom break. 34-year-old Gino Hagenkotter was serving 6 months for violating probation. Records show he spent his life in and out of prison for nonviolent crimes. But Thursday, he asked for a bathroom break while working in a prison orchard. And that's when authorities say he simply hopped the fence and took off. Now, he is the fourth inmate to escape from a Philadelphia jail complex so far this year. Joining us now to discuss more on this latest prisoner escape is NewsNation national security contributor and former CIA officer and FBI special agent Tracy Walder. Tracy, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Tracy, when you heard about the details of this escape during a bathroom break, hopping the fence, what was your reaction?
I mean, it's kind of the same as I've always said before. Really, the time where a prisoner, I don't want to use the word vulnerable, but is most vulnerable to escape is really when they're in these transits, right? Transiting to the yard, the prison workout yard, transiting to a secondary facility. That is when all of these have happened, every single one. And so it shouldn't be surprising that this is when this inmate escaped. However, it really shouldn't continue to occur over and over again.
He was just serving 6 months for violating probation. How much worse is this going to be for them, for him when they find him?
This is going to be a lot worse. Also, my guess is that he's going to be upgraded to the type of prison facility that he will be in because he is an escaped risk. So, not to mention, he's going to have a significant sentence added on as a result of this. It will be extended, as well as his probation once he's released will be significantly extended. Also, he's going to be in a much more secure prison facility, which will not be as pleasant, if you will, than where he's been before.
Yeah, and let's talk about this specific complex. This is the fourth prisoner escape from this correctional complex in Philadelphia so far this year. The fourth one. Is this acceptable? What needs to be done here?
I mean, it's not acceptable. That's the quick answer to the question. But the problem is, and I'm obviously not defending this in any way, shape, or form, but prisons are significantly understaffed. The Bureau of Prisons is very much understaffed and very much underfunded. And so your deputy to prisoner ratio is not what it should be in some of these facilities. And so it's not that I'm not blaming the prison guards that were on duty. Yes, they have a job to do. But the problem is we are not funding these properly. We're not paying proper wages. And as a result, people are looking for jobs elsewhere. And we have a significant shortage of guards at state prisons right now.
Yeah, and we're looking at this map. It's showing where this prison is, very close to the Pennsylvania-New Jersey border. Now, in November, the Philadelphia district attorney said that there were multiple problems like the ones you were talking about, that he said staffing issues, also that cameras were not working on site. Wouldn't those problems, especially the cameras not working, be addressed immediately after the first couple of escapes?
You know, Natasha, I would hope so. But the thing is even when we saw the second escape and the third escape at this very same prison, the issues that were reported as a result of those escapes when they went and did it kind of after action report, if you will, hadn't been fixed when those second and third inmates disappeared. And so it's not surprising that it hadn't been fixed. But yes, cameras are really one of the quickest and easiest things to rectify. And I would have hoped that it would have been changed. But really, these after action items weren't changed when the second and the third escape happened as well.
Yeah, and this specific escaped prisoner, fortunately, his history is of nonviolent crimes. That has not always been the case so far this year, though. We have seen a lot of suspects or inmates escaping custody so far this year in Georgia, in Tennessee, in Pennsylvania as well. What do you think Americans need to know about the state of correctional facilities and common issues that these prisons are seeing?
What I wish Americans would know, and quite frankly, what I talk to my criminal justice students about, is this issue of significant underfunding. It is not an attractive job to a lot of people because we're not able to match salaries. And it becomes incredibly dangerous, incredibly arduous for them. And a lot of them are working way more hours than what they're being paid for. So until we can start paying fair wages, we're not going to be able to lure talented people into these positions. And so I think that's also problematic. Also, yes, our property taxes, those kinds of things do go to fund prisons, but additional funding does need to be mandated by state congresses to fund these prisons. And that's not happening. And that's what I'd like people to know.
Okay, appreciate the insight. Tracy Walder, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.